Perhaps the most damaging aspect of the current woke political and journalistic environment is that facts themselves have become politically incorrect. Reality has become politically incorrect. There are true things that you can't say because you'll be labeled some sort of phobe or ist, or that, some factual statement that you've just uttered is violence. Or actually, even if you don't say anything, well, then silence is violence. But the point is, this is extremely damaging because all it does is creates dysfunction. If you can't deal with problems honestly, you cannot solve them. This creates greater and greater and greater dysfunction within our societies. And that brings us to this interview between Tucker Carlson and Heather MACDONALD. Here's the headline. Heather MACDONALD on mass acts of lawlessness. This is what happens when leftists call police racist. And let's take a look.
Heather MACDONALD is the author of When Race Trumps Merit, How the Pursuit of Equity Sacrifices Excellence, Destroys Beauty, and Threatens Lives. That book is out today. Heather MACDONALD, congratulations on that book, and bless you for pointing out that it destroys beauty, which some people still care about, thank heaven.
Oh yeah, beauty. Apparently not much use for that these days. Well, here's what art used to look like. Here's what it looks like now. This is what architecture used to look like. Here's what it looks like now. But anyway.
So it does seem like these outbreaks of lawlessness and mob rule are the easiest kinds of crimes to stop.
Well, that would depend on believing in the police authority, and the elites have done everything they can possibly do to discredit legitimate police authority by calling it racist. We are seeing civilization break down in front of our eyes. It's a willed and voluntary breakdown, and it will continue and worsen until we stand up against the phony charge of racism, whether directed at the police, at medicine, or the arts, and start defending America's civilizational inheritance.
Yeah, I think when something as fundamental as 2 + 2 = 4 has suddenly become a political statement, it might be time for normal people to start pushing back.
I love this idea that what we're seeing is the product of starvation or deprivation or poverty. These mobs are all organized on social media. The participants all have smartphones. That's not my idea of starvation or deprivation.
You wonder, though, I mean, if you're the opposite, the so-called opposition party, which, of course, most of the time colludes with the Democratic Party, but if you're an ambitious Republican, like running on making the country safe and clean and getting the junkies out of the parks and the marauding teenagers out of 7-Eleven, like, that's not hard. Why does nobody do that? Is everybody so intimidated that no one will just say that obvious truth?
Yes, they're absolutely intimidated because the left will say they're playing the race card. It's very odd because the left says there's no racial disparities in crime, and yet if somebody talks about crime, they'll be accused sotto voce of being racist. So the left actually knows something that it's not letting on. The fact is that law enforcement is not racist for having a disparate impact on black criminals. It has a disparate impact on black criminals when it's enforced in a colorblind manner because the black crime rate is so high. Who suffers from that black crime rate? Overwhelmingly black victims. And yet we're not allowed to talk about those black victims because doing so means talking about black crime. And America turns its eyes away from the pathological inner city culture that gives us these mobs, that gives us these barbaric drive-by shootings, and that will tear down everything unless we stop capitulating to the racial hustle, Tucker.
You see a video like that and you really feel like, wow, it's not just coming, it's here. And we do need to stand up against it if you care about civilization. Heather MACDONALD, sure appreciate your coming on. Thank you for writing this book. I'm going to read it.
Yes, and the great tragic irony of the woke leftist policy is that it hurts the people that it claims to help. But I guess the other side of it is that if people keep voting for insane left-wing policies, well, they're going to get insane left-wing policies and all the attendant poverty and crime that comes along with it. I guess in some places it's just a matter of finding out when too much is too much, if ever. But anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.